I really wanted to use these Blacklight color shift paints for some Halloween designs, so let's get started. I'm going to pull out my Soapstone pencil and we are going to make some poison candy apples. So I'm going to draw kind of the shape of an apple, kind of like a very plump heart, very loose heart, and then I'm going to have kind of that bottom, like when a candy apple has the candied part that drips down and then it kind of sets on the flat surface. So it's kind of got a funny bottom. Now I'm going to base coat these with some black paint to get a nice solid background. So I just thought this would be fun to have them be black. Not a typical apple color, but if we're going for poison apples, I thought it would be fun to be dark and spooky for spooky season. And this is a black base coat paint, so I'm finding it actually behaves very much like my Liquitex gesso, but it's black. So I think that's kind of what we're dealing with here. And then this is my funny little dripped candy down to the flat surface bottom of the apple. So I think that shape will make sense if you think about a candy apple flipped upside down with the stick above it. So I'm just giving a second coat here to make sure that we have nice solid coverage with the black paint. And then we're going to take some dark chocolate paint and fill in the candy apple stick. So the candy apple stick is kind of cartoony shaped. It's kind of not supposed to be the stem of the apple. I could see where that might be misconstrued as a giant stem, but it's supposed to be kind of the stick that is in the top of the candy apple that you can flip it over so you can eat it. Now I'm going to come back in with the Soapstone pencil and draw on kind of the drippy face and the dripping towards the bottom of the candy apple of kind of the decorative, I guess it's not frosting, it's the candied coating on an apple. So I'm just kind of drawing very loose, almost like a jack-o'-lantern, but even more drippy. Just drippy is the technical term for this design. And then I want to put the color shift paint straight over the black. So that was always the plan all along, is I want to put it on top of the black because I almost wanted it to have, it is a little bit sheer, and I wanted that kind of see-through sheer look to work over the black. So we're going to go ahead and put the color shift paint on top. I'm using a fine paintbrush to get kind of all of the details, and then just making sure I don't have any globs of the paint, smoothing it out. And I can already tell that I'm going to need several coats to make sure that the orange shows through on this one, because you can see a lot of the iridescent parts of the color shift paint showing through. So you see that purple shade that's showing. I think the black is really bringing that out, and the orange is getting kind of lost in there. So I know I'm going to need multiple coats. And now we're going to repeat the same thing with the green color shift paint and just get that on there. You can see a little bit more of the green, but again, there's like a blue iridescent that's kind of popping out of this one. So you can kind of tell what they've mixed in with the paint to give it the cool shine that it's got. But again, when you put it over black, the black is overpowering kind of the color pieces of it. So it's definitely going to need multiple coats here. I'm also going to follow up with the pink color shift paint on one of the candy apples after this one. And same thing. Once we get this on here, you definitely see that iridescent piece kind of really shining through, but I really want the color to come through too. So get prepared, buckle in, we're going to do multiple coats. So now we're going to come in and start doing the second coat of the orange color shift paint on that first rock. And as I'm doing this, I'm starting to see that this is going to take so many coats and it's probably not going to give me what I want. So I'm going to help it. I'm going to come grab some of my Blacklight neon paint and kind of accentuate the base colors of these poison apples. So I'm adding some neon green to the green one. I'm going to put some pink on the pink one to give it a little bit more base color to pop through on that like that candied portion that's dripping down the candied apple. So this is hindsight is 2020. My original idea was to kind of have the black show through the color shift, but the black was just too overpowering for the actual base color of the color shift paint. So I'm helping it out, giving it a little bit of base coat kind of in between coats so that we get a little bit more of the orange, the pink, and the green showing through on the candy apples. Now we're going to come back through and we're going to start adding another coat of the color shift paint on top of the colored base coat to see if we can get a little more orange, green, and pink to pop out of these candied apples. And it did help. You can definitely see more of the base color and then allowing that shimmery color shift paint on top to give the cool effect that it normally does. Now that color shift paint is drying, the part that's frustrating to me is that we've got a lot of brush lines. That paint is so sheer that it's just not got the opaque coverage. But first I'm going to clean up my black lines. So I'm going to take a little disposable eyeliner brush and the black paint and just kind of crisp up my drippy lines so that we have nice definition with the black paint. Very easy to do with a disposable eyeliner brush. These things are so good for detail work, but I just want to make sure my lines are nice and crisp because I have a trick up my sleeve for these brush lines because they're making me frustrated. I don't like the brush lines, but one of the ways that you can cover them up is I'm going to pull out my hologram glitter paint and a dotting tool, and we are going to put some of the hologram glitter paint down pretty thick. This is going to be a pretty thick layer of the hologram glitter paint, and that's why I use the dotting tools, because you get kind of a lot onto the dotting tool and you spread it carefully so you don't spread it too thin like you might with a brush. So we're just going to fill in all of the colored parts of the poison apples, and when this dries, what it does is the glitter just kind of creates this dimension and you can't see brush lines anymore. So this is a trick that I use on any kind of rock that I've got something I need to kind of cover up, or if there's brush lines from the paint, putting the hologram glitter paint over it disappears it. I'm going to take my Sakura Pigma fine line pen to add some detail to the candy apple sticks, and then I'm going to take my nail drill and clean up the edges where I had a little bit of overrun of paint from the solid color paint when I was trying to kind of save the day of my original idea. So this is a great way to clean up the edges. Then I wanted to test what would have happened if we'd have put the solid paint on to begin with to give a solid colorful background, and it definitely made a difference. This is what it looked like after I did the solid paint and the color shift paint on top. I also added some dragonfly glaze to the black, which was an interesting look. So this is how the rock painting game goes. It's an experiment. Sometimes your ideas don't turn out the way you're planned and you just keep trying. So let me know in the comments which you like better, because I actually like how they both came out, because I love my glitter and I love the sparklies, but I also like the bright bold colors of adding the base coat to the candied apple drips. So let me know in the comments which one's your favorite. Thanks so much for stopping by to watch, and I'll see you next time. Take care.